Well, just before we begin, I'd like to say welcome to Denise and Pam. And is Nancy on with us?
Nancy's here. Yeah, Nancy's here. She says hello.
Terrific, terrific. So we have several representatives this evening from Avalon Waterways. For many of you who are listening in, you've taken advantage of some of the river cruises offered by Singles Travel International. And they offered to bring Nancy this evening. Nancy's actually a cruise director aboard one of the vessels. So I personally am excited to hear about her life on board as a cruise director and how exciting that must be. It seems like the dream job. So let's get started with our river cruising, the most relaxing way to travel through the eyes of a cruise director, presented by Singles Travel International, creating life-changing experiences and unique opportunities to meet the world together. Welcome aboard. My name is Tammy. I'm the president of Fun and Adventure. And here with me is Denise, Pam, and Nancy. Denise is our representative with Avalon Waterways, and she's my right-hand person whenever we try to get anything done for our singles, including some specials that we're going to talk about at the end of the presentation tonight. She's an avid cruiser herself with Avalon Waterways for 15 years, and really our members have been raving about the river cruise vacations, and we just want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to try it. You might have heard some things about river cruising, and tonight we're here to give you the inside scoop. We hope that this peek into river cruising lets you assess your personal travel lifestyle and see if this is really for you. We do have 3 upcoming cruises in 2015 and 16. We're going to touch base on all of them tonight, which is why I'm really super excited not only to have Nancy but Pam, because Pam has just come back from the Mekong sailing. So she's really going to give us an insider view on that. You can review all of these tours and cruise tours on our website, and you're able to book them on board, online the site, or just give Robin a call. She'd be happy to assist you. So let's get started with the presentation. I'm going to turn over to you, Denise and Pam.
Okay. Well, thank you, Tammy, and thank you, Singles Travel International. Thank you for having us on tonight. So, Pam, I kind of roped her into this. So Pam wanted to listen in on the webinar tonight, and I went, wait a minute, Pam, you just went on this trip. So Tammy has a charter in November in 2016. It's November 7th through the 19th for Vietnam, Cambodia, and the Mekong, and it's a charter, and it'll be all Singles Travel International. And this will sell out, and Pam will tell us all about her experience, and she just did it this summer, and she's very passionate about this. So take it away, Pam. So we're going to have her talk about her trip. And Pam, if you want to, I'll go through the slides, but if you want to tell me when to move on to the next one, feel free.
Sure. Thanks, Denise, and thanks, Tammy. Just so you folks will know, I've been with Avalon Waterways for 10 years, with Globus for 13, and I am Denise's counterpart up in cold Boston. So you can all feel sorry for me up here. I had the great opportunity this June, and by the way, before I get started, let me just say that Nancy, our cruise director, will be coming on and speaking to you about river cruising after me, and I'm so glad I get to go first because she's fabulous. You will learn so much about the river cruise business by listening to her. In the meantime, let me just take you through about 7 minutes of our Mekong River cruise. I had the opportunity this past June to take this exact itinerary you're seeing on the map, 3 nights in Siem Reap. We cruised south for 7 nights, and then we spent our last 2 nights in what I now call Saigon. It's okay to call Ho Chi Minh City Saigon. I just find it easier. So, Denise, if you'll move to the next slide, I believe you were putting in a ship slide. And here you see the Avalon Siem Reap. Now, she's being built. She will start her sailings on the Mekong this coming January. She'll only cruise with 36 guests. So she is almost like being on a private yacht. Denise, I want to show you some of her stateroom amenities. Her staterooms, and you'll see the slide in just a minute. Okay, so she has air-conditioned indoor lounge, air-conditioned, and then, oh, here we go. She has beautiful air-conditioned inside lounge and an outside lounge. Her staterooms are 245 square feet. You can see the beds separate. Oh, can you go back to the stateroom? They're 245 square feet. That window is 14 feet across. It opens to 9 feet. It transforms the stateroom into a large open-air balcony. You can sit in the comfort of your stateroom and feel as though you're sitting outside. And for those of you who have been on a big ship cruise or a river cruise, you know how boring it is to wake up in the morning and look at a wall. Look at the view that you're going to have every morning when you wake up. You're going to be facing the window and the view. We have large closets in each stateroom with shelves. We also have under-the-bed luggage storage, so there's plenty of room for two folks sharing a stateroom. You'll also find bathrobes, slippers, a mini bar, individual air conditioning, complimentary bottled water. There's an in-room safe, and sound dampening insulation, so you don't hear your neighbors and they won't hear you. And Denise, I believe the bathroom is coming up. I want to show this fabulous marble-topped vanity in the bathroom. They're very large. They feature a full shower with a glass door, hair dryer, and L'Occitane bath amenities. And you can see the beautiful bathroom on the bottom left corner. And the top is our indoor lounge. Now over on the right, the two pictures, I want to show you the hotels that we use. They're both deluxe. In Siem Reap, we stay at the Victoria Anchor Resort and Spa. Its colonial architecture is very reminiscent of the 1930s, but it has modern amenities. And then in Saigon, we're staying at the Intercontinental Asiana Hotel, located right in the heart of the city. And this is a good time for me just to mention that on board and in our hotels, you will have an opportunity to sample both authentic Cambodian and Vietnamese cuisine as well as familiar Western alternatives. So your choice. Breakfasts are full buffet, and I highly recommend a noodle soup called pho. It's spelled P-H-O. I had it every morning, and I'm not a noodle soup kind of person, but it's served with your choice of chicken, shrimp, or beef, and it's just wonderful. It's a local taste to start every day. All meals are included during your entire journey with the exception of 3 lunches and 3 dinners. Now, from Siem Reap, you will spend 2 days visiting these fabulous, fabulous temples. Constructed between the 9th and the 13th centuries, they were built around the Khmer interpretations of Indian religious and political beliefs. It ultimately evolved from Hinduism to Buddhism. We're accompanied by a local guide who ensures we miss nothing of the history and the construction of these temples. So top left, Angkor Wat, it is the best preserved. It's the most famous. It honors the Hindu god Vishnu. It features 5 towers, which you can see in the distance, has stunning bas reliefs, and has become a symbol of Cambodia. Top right, Angkor Thom in the Bayon Temple. It's one of the few Buddhist temples in Angkor. And as you can see here, 2 of the faces, but it actually features 200 faces carved in 54 towers. Absolutely magnificent. Next day, bottom left, you'll be visiting Bante Shrey. And it's a temple dedicated to the Hindu god Shiva. It's built on a small scale from red sandstone compared to the others. The red sandstone can be carved like wood. The designs are quite ornate, and because of the smaller size and beautiful decorations, it's known as the quote-unquote woman's temple. And then on the bottom right, Thep Prom has been really untouched and unpreserved. Tree roots grow over and through the ruined walls, so you actually can see the temple the same way the early explorers discovered it. So these are 2 days of amazing walking, climbing, and especially at Angkor Wat, if you aren't comfortable walking, it's not a problem. Our Cruise Direct will make you comfortable, and you can see the interior. without having to climb up a couple flights of stone steps to see the higher views. So top left, a typical street view along the entire river. On the right, a typical house view. And in Cambodia and Wat Hang Chi, we partake in a traditional water blessing given by local monks. And then we go to Angkor Bon, where we visit a local school, and we actually participate with the students. You can see 3 of our guests here sitting with the students. They're taking an English class. They weren't very far along when we were there. But it was so fun for our passengers, our guests, to sit with the kids. We all had actually shopped for easy reading books and notepads and pencils before we went to the school, so we were able to hand them out to the kids, and they were so appreciative. Next slide. I'm going to show you what I think is a really interesting tradition still in Cambodia. And are you moving this? Thank you. The silk weaving demonstration. So we saw this one family who owns this home and this silk weaving, and we saw them weave. Over the top right, you'll see silkworms. Bottom left are the silkworms as they are actually creating the threads. And then at the bottom right, somebody from our cruise happened to decorate herself with some of the scarves that we saw. But these scarves can be purchased for $10, $15, $20, depending on the size of the scarf and the number of colors that go into it. And by the way, let me mention that you should bring more $5 bills than you ever thought you could spend, because most of these places, especially the silk weaving, we went to a silver jewelry store. They don't take credit cards, so you want to have plenty of cash. I actually didn't have enough with me. I left most of it in my room on the ship, so I couldn't buy as many scarves as I wanted to. And make sure they're crisp. Go to the bank. They don't have to be brand new, but make sure they're fairly crisp. Modes of transportation. This is really fun. We were met in Siem Reap in Cambodia by ox carts. And imagine, so there were, on our cruise there were 34 people. So there were 17 ox carts lined up, and we got in them 2 by 2. We traveled down this dirt road for about 15 minutes. We rode past rice paddy fields and the beautiful Cambodian countryside. We met a local farmer and his family, and we learned about his daily life through a translator. Then the cyclos in Phnom Penh on the bottom photo. When we were traveling through and doing the sightseeing in Phnom Penh, these men actually were on bikes behind us, pedaling us through. They all had numbers. They learned our first name. So when we left one site to go to another, they would be looking for us, and we would get back into their cyclo. A little scary with all of the traffic, but very exciting. And then on the right, tuk-tuks for $1 per person. You can take a tuk-tuk virtually anywhere. That was fun too. And they're driven by men on little motorbikes, motorized scooters attached to the little cart. All set. And so in Phnom Penh, by the cyclo, we went to the Royal Palace, and we went to a few other places I'll mention in a minute. But then we went to one of the killing fields in Phnom Penh. It's very heartrending, and if it's not something that you feel comfortable doing, that's fine. The cruise director will take you back to the ship or find some place for you to sit and relax while the rest of the group walks around the area. But as much as that was dramatic and filled with pathos, we saw beautiful, beautiful Asian women with their smiles, selling their fruit and their vegetables. Just beautiful people that we met everywhere. And then when we went back on board our ship, children from a local orphanage put on a show featuring songs and local dance. And I'm going to say this was one of the highlights for me. Okay, Denise. Absolutely one of the highlights of the trip, to see these so talented children knowing that they're living in an orphanage and there's people who care for them and who are teaching them the skills that they have. In one of the visits that we made while we were in Siem Reap was visiting Les Artisans d'Ancourt. And it's a development project that teaches young adults traditional handicraft techniques. So we were walked through, we were escorted, we had our guide, and he showed us how they were making various statues from stone, from wood, from clay. We got to continue seeing how they were painted and varnished. Another visit we made was to see how traditional coconut candies are made. And then in the bottom left, we had an opportunity to make rice paper, which is used for spring rolls. And on the bottom right, we went to a cooking school, and for lunch, we actually made our own spring rolls and had a chance to eat them, as well as making a few other dishes. So that was, and we also came away with special chopsticks and a cookbook of the dishes that we made with instructions. It was just so much fun. Nice lunch. So sightseeing in Saigon includes a visit to the Reunification Palace and the War Remnants Museum. We made a visit to Ben Thanh Market, which is the largest and oldest in Saigon. I've got to say, the children in Cambodia and Vietnam are just absolutely beautiful, so charming. We went to the Cu Chi tunnels in Saigon, outside of Saigon, and it's a network of tunnels over 120 miles long. They were used by the Viet Cong as a hideout and a secret village during the war. So you'll learn how the tunnels were constructed, and if you're interested, you will have a chance to walk through a section to experience what life would have been like underground. And that's not, what you see here is not the way our guests go into the tunnel. There's other ways, like going into a cave, if you're interested in doing that. Again, Denise, all set. And so, once again, Saigon. And in Saigon, you will see famous and historic landmarks on the walking tour. We'll point out Rex Hotel. In fact, you might want to, just as I did, make time to have a cocktail up on the roof bar, which was a well-known hangout spot for U.S. military officers and war correspondents. If you've watched Robin Williams' movie, Good Morning Vietnam, they'll show it on board, but you might want to watch it before you go. You'll see the Rex Hotel in the movie. And we will take you to Ho Chi Minh Square, the Municipal Theater. You'll have a chance to go into the Central Post Office and Notre Dame Cathedral. So throughout your journey, you'll be in the hands of our very skilled cruise director and our well-educated local guides in Siem Reap, in Saigon, and on the Mekong. Lastly, I want to point out that we do something different than any other river cruise company does on the Mekong. We either cruise into and out of Siem Reap or we fly. It's now, Tonle River, sometimes, just like European rivers, can be low, and we can't cruise through it. So in the past, we have taken a 5-hour motor coach, but moving forward, starting in 2015, with our brand new ship, we are not going to subject our clients to a 5-hour motor coach ride. So we will, if we can't cruise, we're going to fly you. And what's really nice is we sail right out of Saigon or right into Saigon where nobody else can do that. So we're also saving you 2 hours by not having to go in a coach and motor coach, and it's just so exciting to see that. Just a few notes about the Mekong. Bring lightweight clothes. Be sure to have some tops with sleeves and long pants or skirts, because several of the temples we visit require shoulders and knees to be covered. And your cruise director on board will let you know when to dress this way. And 1 or 2 temples and at the Silver Museum in Phnom Penh, we have to remove shoes. So if you're uncomfortable walking barefoot, just pack lightweight socks. On board, clothing is very casual. There's no dress-up nights, and flip-flops were the thing to wear on board, and with the sightseeing too. Your personal physician will advise what inoculations you need for your journey, and you will need a visa for both Cambodia and Vietnam. And wonderfully, every excursion is included in the price of the trip. So I'm going to move aside and let the real expert take over. But thank you all for listening to my little vacation wrap-up about the Mekong River. Nancy?
Thank you so much, Pam. Thank you so much, Pam. We really appreciate it. And don't forget,
you're welcome.
2016, this will be a charter of Singles Travel International, so you'll have 36 of you on board. And I know I was talking to Tammy this week, and this is going to sell out very fast, but at least you have all of 2015 to pay your trip off. So I'm going to introduce Nancy Paredes, and she is going to talk to you about the 2 groups that we have coming up in 2015 with Avalon Waterways. And Nancy is a cruise director with Avalon Waterways, and she has been with us, the sales team, for about a month right now. And this is actually her second to last day. So tomorrow is the last day of the team, and she heads home to Budapest. So welcome, Nancy, and here is Nancy.
So hello, everybody. Even though it's my second to last day, I'm still very excited about River Cruise because I love it so much. So I'm happy that you're here. And if you haven't been on a river cruise, I can tell you there's not an easier way to travel. The fact that you unpack once, you travel through the middle of Europe or the middle of Cambodia, my goodness, it doesn't get any easier. All you have to do is unpack and relax, and we take care of everything else. So you have included meals. Of course, during dinner we have included wine, and I always say it comes in this lovely magic glass, and every time you put it down, it magically refills, and we have not only regional wines, but lovely reds, whites, and of course rosés. But the trips that have been selected for you all are 2 of my favorite trips. The first one we're showing you is the Austrian highlights in Bavaria, leaving on April 6th. I love this trip because we're actually going to start in Munich, Germany, home of beer, the Oktoberfest, and of course lots of history, the capital of Bavaria. We have 3 nights in Munich. We're going to go see Neuschwanstein, which is probably best known as the Disney Castle and the Passion Play home of the Oberammergau. And then we'll join our ship in Passau, and we will sail downstream and ending in Vienna. And I think Denise has put some lovely slides in to show you, like Vienna here. Here's the Hofburg Palace right in the middle of the city, home of the Vienna Boys Choir, and of course of those Lipizzaner horses. Of course, when you talk about Vienna, you're talking about the city of music. Every famous musician has gone through this town, and it's inherent in their culture and also in their music. And there's a picture of one of the concerts in the town. Dürnstein, as I'm showing you the picture, my gosh, what I love about the Danube, not only is the history the most important to me because all of our history came up the Danube, but looking at this picture of Dürnstein, this is the pearl of the Wachau region, famous for its wines, for its apricots, and of course for this beautiful Baroque monastery that you're seeing. By the way, do you see the castle behind Dürnstein? That was actually home of Richard the Lionheart. I always joke, if you ever saw that really bad version of Kevin Costner and Robin Hood, and you probably wondered, where is Richard the Lionheart? Why isn't he at this wedding? Well, now you'll find out where he was the whole time. He was a guest. We actually say prisoner, but the Austrians are very hospitable. So they say that he was a guest simply in the town of Dürnstein. We can do biking in Dürnstein. And of course, there's a picture of Oberammergau, home of the Passion Play. Neuschwanstein, the King Ludwig II, this was his castle. And of course, it inspired Disney for his castle. And Munich, of course, being the Oktoberfest. I did this a little bit backwards, but that's okay. And there's one of the many beer gardens you know in Germany. This is probably the Algarten Beer Gardens. The ship that you're going to be sailing on is a sweet ship. My goodness. There's a lot of river companies out there, but I have to say I think that the sweet ships of Avalon are absolutely the sweetest. This holds 128 passengers maximum. So there's plenty of room for you all to enjoy this ship. Looking at it, you can see the top deck, the sky deck. I actually personally call it the sun deck. I like to say I'm an optimist. You've got a front lounge, you've got a back lounge, and you have beautiful cabins. The bottom deck is 172 square feet. The second and third are suites, and they're 200 square feet, and our only 2 suites we have are 300 square feet. This is what a suite looks like. We actually, with Avalon, have the bed facing the window. Now, that always makes me a little worried because I'm scared none of my guests will ever get out of the comfortable bed and actually go on tour because they can just lay in bed and watch the whole cruise. So please don't stay in bed during this time. But again, we have actually angled the bed so you can have this wonderful view. Also, you get a beautiful bathroom. Now, I've been on many ships. I've been on many of ocean cruising, And I have to say, this bathroom is spectacular. It's large. It's so large, we always joke that we can fit 6 cruise directors in the shower. And, of course, there's plenty of room for all your toiletries. And we give you, of course, lovely Loxapan bath amenities. I tell you what, those are such nice amenities. I tell you a secret. Every time you go on an Avalon ship, go ahead and hide them and take it so you get a new set the next day. That's about 40 euros a day you're recouping. Yeah, 20 pounds in your suitcase. Thanks, Denise. But again, nice, big bathrooms. I can guarantee if you step into an Avalon Vista bathroom, you can actually drop your soap, bend over. The shower curtain won't get stuck to your hip, and your foot won't end up in the toilet. It's really that big. Here on the bottom of our ships, this is a ship room on this 172. By the way, in these pictures that I'm showing you, I will go back. We can separate the beds. They're two big beds. So don't worry about it. It's not like you're going to be cramped in. We're giving you a lot of space. Anyway, this particular cabin is on the bottom deck. It has all the same amenities as all the other rooms. The only difference is we can't give you a French balcony because we don't want to have water on our fish in our ship. So we have just these lovely windows. You'll never have water over the windows, but you might have an occasional peeping swan or duck. Oh, I do want to point out that in all river cabins on Avalon, you have a refrigerator in your room. That's really important. If you have medication, it makes it nice. But for me, the reason I like to have refrigerators in the rooms of my ships is when I do my port talks every night. I will tell you about tomorrow's destination, what you'll see. And I want to remind you that you shouldn't learn Europe just through your, you shouldn't, Denise is giving me a little note, sorry. She's kind of doing a charade. So I'm going to shut my eyes and ignore you for the moment. Anyway, when you go to my port talks, I'm going to talk about things. I don't think you should see history just through your brain. You've got to see it through your stomach. So in my port talks, I'm always talking about, hey, in this next town, get this chocolate, get this wine, get this bread, this cheese, and bring it back to the ship. Number one, you have a refrigerator, so you can put it there. And number two, we don't have cruise police. So you bring it back, no problem. Well, we only ask that you don't eat it in our lounge or our living room. What were you saying? So, and we have plenty of closet room for you, not a problem. Again, they're very well appointed cabins, so you don't need to worry about everything. We'll take care of it. I always laugh. We do have a fitness room. It's very nice. I don't know how many of my guests actually see it, but we do have one. And we also have a beauty salon. And when we go on tours, I see this next slide, I want you to know that Avalon, this is really your vacation, folks. You can do as much or as little as you want. Now, I have a structured program with local guides, so every time we stop, we're going to have a tour offered to you. If you want to take it, beautiful, take it. And if you don't have to. Then come talk to your cruise director and tell me what you want to see, and I can help you arrange that. But one of the things I really like about our tours is that we hire local guides from the city, and so they really know their cities and quite proud. Everybody has headsets on tour, and to me, headsets are the best thing since sliced bread, because no longer do you have to stand right next to your guide to hear what they're talking about. You can actually walk away from your guide because you have this lovely headset. You can really take the pictures of the castles, the cathedrals, or fountains, or whatever history you're being shown. Now, I'd like to tell you that all the tours and histories that I'll share with you on the river cruise is the most important thing, but I'm no fool. It's the food. If you're not happy with the food and the wine, there's just no point. It's not going to be a good cruise. We know that, so we're going to really take care of you. By the way, our dining room is always open seating, and so we have tables from 2 to 8. You know what I really love about river cruising? I love the fact that everybody comes on my ship strangers, and whether they're single or by themselves or with groups of friends or with a spouse, it doesn't matter, because by the time we're finished with our cruise, everyone is not only friends, they're family. So I love the fact that we have open seating. We want you to mix and mingle and get to know your fellow passengers. That's really important. We have designed our dining room so everybody gets a river seat. It doesn't matter where you're sitting. You'll always be able to see the river. And we do give you, of course, as I mentioned, complimentary wine with dinner. To give you an idea of the food, I don't think anyone will starve on a river cruise ship. We start very early in the morning with a continental breakfast. Then we have a full breakfast that lasts 2 hours. You come and go as you want. We include sparkling wine with breakfast if you would like to have a mimosa. Then we have late riser breakfast because, my goodness, we're going to feed you breakfast. Followed by that, we're going to have lunch. Lunch lasts for an hour and a half, and we offer complimentary sodas with lunch, followed by afternoon cake and coffee and tea, and followed by a happy hour, which is 2 for 1. By the way, happy hour on a river ship's not like an ocean. We're not charging you $15, $20 for a drink and then giving you a souvenir glass. No, our drinks are reasonably priced, about $5 to $7, but remember, it's 2 for 1. Dinner time is the most important. This is the one time I'm going to ask everybody come on time. And by the way, the dress on a river ship is very casual, but dinner time we ask no shorts because we're going to do a 5-course service. We're going to do it right, and so we'd like everyone to be on time. You'll have your selection of sodas, beer, or these 4 wines. And like I said, there's my magic glass. Every time you put it down, it magically refills. But you cannot take it out of our dining room or else it won't work anywhere else. And by the way, after all that food all day, if you're still hungry, I've got a late night snack. There is Denise looking very happy. Oh, and there, I just want you to notice all the wine glasses that she has in front of her. So obviously, she took a lot of samplings of all the wine. And so she's looking very, very happy. By the way, food is not an issue on a river ship. We can do any kind of dietary need. The only one we cannot do kosher. And that's because we'll need to have 2 separate kitchens. And I tell you what, our kitchen is performing miracles, and it's not very big. We just don't have room for 2 kitchens. But if you have any dietary issues, please tell your travel agent, or when you come on board, find your cruise director, the hotel manager, and we will take care of you. We're not like an ocean where we have to stock up for the week or 2 weeks. We can shop pretty much every day. And there's lots and lots of choice. Here's a favorite part of my ship. On the Vista, it's called the Club Lounge. It's in the very back of the ship on the 3rd deck. This is a lounge that has 24-hour coffees, and we're talking specialty coffees with no extra cost. Help yourself as much as you'd like. That's the cappuccinos, the latte macchiatos, teas, donuts, cookies, fruit. 24 hours it's available for you. And I love the Club Lounge because it's a nice quiet area. We have books and games. And it's, I think, everyone's favorite. And you can see the outdoor balcony from the back also. We have Wi-Fi throughout the ship. We have aft lounge free Wi-Fi, but to be honest, the whole ship has free complimentary Wi-Fi. But let me warn you, there's not a DSL cable underneath our ship. We're relying on satellite. It works 99% of the time, but it's not always instant gratification. Sometimes a little slow depending on certain areas of the river. But again, it works most of the time, and there's no extra charge. Ah, my favorite slide. You know, I've been in America for a month, and I really enjoy being home, but I have to say I'm a little spoiled by the European coffee. So there's a little picture of my coffee machine. By the way, I can brag that we have the best coffee on the river, and how can I say that? Well, here's why. I'm constantly chasing hotel captains and managers from other river companies out of my back lounge because I always catch them drinking my coffee. Now, there's locks. If you come on a river cruise with us, you're going to go through locks. If you're going from Munich down to Budapest or Vienna, you're going to go through at least 16 locks. I want you to see how big these locks are. They're not terribly big. In fact, the lock is 37.5 feet wide, and our ship is 37 feet wide. So I know that some ships you can look at will have these outdoor balconies. We don't think it's necessary. We like the French balconies, and you can understand why. I can't make my ship any fatter, so I want to use all the space. I want to utilize all the space I can in the ship. I say we're a Swiss company, family-owned for 86 years, and we're very, very practical and very functional in how we designed our ships and how we operate. So I like that very much. We have some promotions, and I'm passing this over to Denise to tell you all about them.
Hi, everybody. We had some waived cabins for Singles Travel International. So what that means is there's no single supplement. So we're down to 2, so they're selling fast. So we have 2 cabins where we're completely waiving the single supplement and you just pay the one price. But you have to be in a category A, B, or P cabin. You can't be in the lower cabin. So we have 2 of those left. Or if you do have a roommate, then it's $500 off per person. So those are currently the promotions on this itinerary. And then we're moving on to the Danube. So Nancy will tell you all about the Danube, and it's 3 nights in Prague and a 7-night cruise ending in Budapest, and it's July 17th.
Thank you, Denise. Hey, you know, everyone always asks me what my favorite river is, and I, of course, I like all of them, but I started on the Danube, and so she's my river. She's my gal. I love this cruise just for the fact of the wow factor. When we start this cruise, we start in Prague, and Prague is definitely a wow. I always say that if we had not had World War II, then Prague probably wouldn't be so important because there was prettier towns, Leipzig and Dresden for sure. But since the devastation of World War II, Prague is our last jewel. So we fly into Prague. We stay in a very nice hotel. I, as the cruise director, am actually going to be with you from the very beginning. This is an Avalon specialty. We, the cruise directors, start with you on land. We will go with you on the ship, and if we need to, we'll end on land with you. But I will be with you, or your cruise director will be with you every step of the way so we can ensure you a nice, easy, comfortable journey. After 3 days in Prague, we're going to bus about 3 hours to Nuremberg so we can join our river. And of course, Nuremberg and Regensburg are just amazing towns. I have to warn you, they have sausages. They have lots of wonderful history. There's sausages. We're in Bavaria. That's what that's all about. So you're definitely going to have to try some sausages when you're there. We're going to go through Passau and then end up in Austria visiting towns like Linz and Vilna and going to Vienna. And then I have to say a special connection to Budapest because that's where I'm actually living. And I think it is probably one of the most spectacular towns. So we're starting with a wow, going through the cruise, wow, wow, but you're ending with a big wow. Budapest is a home of 2 million. And I have to laugh that people don't have a lot of expectations of Budapest. When they get there, they always say, wow, why don't we know about this? I think you're hearing more and more about Budapest as we just got the honor of being the second most beautiful city in Europe. Paris will never be beaten, but Budapest is right behind it. So here's starting with Prague. Again, beautiful way. We've got all these bridges, city of 100 spires, so much history in Prague. The astronomical clock, as you're seeing. Of course, these are one of the towers. Hey, by the way, when you're in Prague, don't use your landmarks to be towers or spires, because you see that tower in that picture? There's 100 matching towers that look just like that. Nuremberg, of course, not only home of the Nuremberg trials, of course, one of the first time we've ever been accountable. It was a medieval city and such a beautiful city. 90% destroyed but rebuilt in the Marshall Plan, and it looks just a there was once so much devastation in this beautiful town. This is Regensburg. This is home of the old sausage kitchen. The church behind it is called St. Peter's. It is Gothic architecture, which you'll learn a lot about architecture, Baroque, Gothic, neoclassical, etc. The sausage kitchen, well, the sausage kitchen is from 1136, but don't worry, the sausages are not. You will actually get a voucher as a surprise, but we want you to actually try the sausages here. We think they're the best. And of course, we have beer. We're in Bavaria, in Deutschland. Passau is a city of 3 rivers. If you look at the slide closely, you'll see that the water is mixing. That's an interesting slide because we have three rivers. We have the Inn, the Ilz, and the Danube all joining. And all of them are very different colored waters. I hate to tell you this, but the Danube is definitely not blue. It's more of a grayish green. The Inn River is glacial green, and the Inn River is so clear because it's going over the Bohemian Massif. So it's 3 rivers. It's a beautiful little town. 50,000 people, all Baroque. Now, Denise's choice is you can go have an excursion to Salzburg or Český Krumlov. Denise will tell you, she's shivering in the background, Český Krumlov. Český Krumlov is amazing. When I was first offered the chance to sail at Český Krumlov, because it is an optional tour, you can stay on the ship and have a beautiful sail. But if you want more active, you could go for Český Krumlov or Salzburg. The first time I went to Český Krumlov, I was interested in even offering this. I was blown away. I've lived in Europe for 30 years, and I have to say I'm a little bit of a jaded traveler. But the first time I saw Český Krumlov, I couldn't believe this place existed. I had not seen anything like that in Europe. And we started going there every other weekend. And Lisa's going to move there. She says she's tired. Salzburg, I was hard because Salzburg, home of Mozart and the Sound of Music. Wow, that's going to be your hardest day, deciding where to go. This is Milk Abbey. Amazing. People always say, why don't we know about this stuff? You know, to be honest with you, you all book river cruising for the big towns you know, but that's not the treat of river cruising. The treat of river cruising is all these little towns you've never heard of. Milk Abbey is spectacular. It's pastels and gold like you wouldn't believe. I'm always asking my guests to give me an adjective to describe it. The best one I've ever heard was a gentleman came out and said, Nancy, that's the Barockiest church I've ever seen. And I think that describes it the best. And of course, when we go to Vienna, home of Apfelstrudel, you got to try at least 4 before you can leave the town. And then here's my town. Again, Budapest. You've got the Chain Bridge and the Castle District right above it. Absolutely stunning. And it's my pleasure to personally invite you to come to Budapest, whether you start or finish. If you do this cruise, you might want to think about extending a few more days, because on this particular cruise, you're starting with 3 days in Prague. Then you get a tour of Budapest, you spend the night, and the next day you leave. And to be honest, most of my guests go, wow, I wish I had a couple more days here. So something to think about. But we'd love to have you, and here's Denise to tell you a little bit more.
And I second what Nancy said about Budapest. I know when I was there, we booked only 1 pre-night, and I wish we would have, because I did the opposite itinerary, and I wish we would have spent a couple more days. So I think we're all going to go crash at Nancy's house for a couple days. So thank you, Nancy, for coming on and talking to Singles Travel International. So I wanted to thank you guys for all coming on tonight. We do have an incentive, so if you do book by November 28th, we have these wonderful river cruise books. They're just very extensive. They talk about all the different rivers, what you see when you're on the river. So we will send you a Avalon river cruise book, and we also have these really cool adapters. It's just a little adapter. And I know me, when I travel, you know, you travel with all those little pieces, and you have a little adapter for Europe. And I think I'm on my 3rd one. When you pull it out of the wall, that little adapter stays in the wall. So this is a nice piece where you can convert everywhere. I think there's South America, there's Europe on there, there's Africa, so it's a great adapter. Yeah, and if you forget, we can, oh yeah, Nancy said if you do forget your adapter, they have adapters on board the river cruise. So we will send you a book and an adapter if you book by November 28th. So Tammy, I'm going to open it up for any questions. Does anybody have any questions for Pam or for Nancy or me? No? Okay. If you have any questions later, you can always email Singles Travel International, and they can help you out. We also have some promotions for the last river cruise we talked about, the Danube. Singles Travel International did have 4 cabins for waived single supplements, and those are already sold out. So we don't have any of those. But if you do travel with a roommate, it's $200 off per person off the cruise. And we also have a promotion, and if any of you have traveled in the past with Singles Travel International and you've been on Globus, or you've been on an Avalon cruise before, or if you've traveled with us with maybe another agency, and you've traveled on us, and that could be any brand, Globus, Cosmos, Monograms, Avalon, we have a Journeys Club discount of 5% off. So that can combine with any other promotion that's going on. So let's say you do take one of these 2 river cruises, and then you take the Mekong in 2016, you will have your Journeys Club discount from your cruise, and you can use towards the Mekong trip. So just keep that in mind, that that's an additional discount for you to use. And we wanted to thank you. So thank you, Tammy at Singles Travel International. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Nancy. And here's the website for Singles Travel International. You can find all the prices on there, and also the phone number 877-SOLO-TRIP. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate you guys logging on tonight, and have a good night and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, ladies. What a passionate presentation.
You.
We really appreciate it. Thanks, and have a nice evening.
Thank you, Tammy. You too. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.